Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Chiropractor. It's your host, Patrick Hogg, and we've got a super special guest with me today. Interestingly enough, we both went to the same chiropractic school, but even further back than that, we actually attended the same secondary school as well. So he's a fellow AECC graduate. He graduated a couple of years ago, is now working in Sussex. He's built himself an amazing client base. He's
Essex.
Sorry, Essex, not Sussex. I'm from Sussex. It's the other way around. And he's now just pivoting on and looking at building his own online business as well. So he's got loads of knowledge for someone at his stage in his game. And it is Andykurt. So I'm going to hand it over to Andy. He's going to introduce himself. I know a lot better than I can do him because I can't even get his location right. So I know he's going to be able to help us a little bit more and just tell us a little bit more about himself and his journey into chiropractic.
Hi guys. Yeah, I just want to start by thanking Dr. Patrick for inviting me onto the podcast today. So as you know, my name is Dr. Andykurt. Some people call me Andy, however you choose. I got into chiropractic at the age of about 22, but I actually found out about chiropractic at 16. So the journey started, I was actually started my career after school. So as I said, as Patrick said, I went to the same secondary school as Patrick. We studied at the same university. So we actually have a lot in common in terms of our background. Now, I joined the military after finishing school. So I was in the military for a few years. And eventually I finished at the age of 22. And I wanted to keep with the theme of giving back. So when I finished the military, I thought, how could I give back now? You know, I've done my service. I'm happy where I'm at now. So I actually chose healthcare. So I grew up in Bournemouth, and it just so happened that one of the most famous and prestigious chiropractic universities is the AECC University College. So everyone in Bournemouth knows about this college. So that's where I decided to study. And I remember going there at the early age of about 16. So just finished at secondary school. And I walked around the college and I saw this whole idea of, you know, healing the body from the inside out. So I was in absolute awe. I was walking around, listening to the stories and guest speakers. And, my whole mindset changed when it came to health. So the idea of healing someone without the use of chemicals like pharmaceutical drugs or invasive surgeries, that was just amazing to me. So from that point, I really became obsessed with the idea of, having these healing hands. So that's how it all started with me, really.
And it's, this is, so obviously this is the fourth episode that we've recorded, and every single person so far has had a completely different story as to why they became a chiropractor. But what you basically always find the common theme with everyone is that either they had a problem first and someone really helped them, but the common theme with every single one, whether they had a problem or not a problem to start off with, every single person is obsessed with the idea of wanting to help another person or give something back to someone else. And so I really like that. I love that concept, and I love the concept of the healing hands. It's everything that chiropractic basically revolves around. And again, it's influencing those people and actually being able to give something back, but actually also improve the lives of those people. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, like you, and I do a lot of interviews myself. I often find that a lot of people, when they say, "Oh, how did you get into chiropractic?" and it seems to be a very common thing that people are, "Oh, I had this amazing adjustment and my life was changed." But actually, for me, it was different. I found chiropractic first before having an adjustment, before knowing anything about it, before having any treatment. Okay, maybe my parents saw a chiropractor when I was younger, but I didn't know anything about it. It was actually seeing it in person and going around the university and seeing people at the top of their game that actually converted me to become a chiropractor.
And by the way, just because you didn't get adjusted before you became a chiropractor, or just because you didn't know about the adjustments or have this miracle cure, doesn't mean that we don't have the same miracles that some of our patients have. You know, like
Oh, 100%.
I know for a fact that my life has been completely changed since people have been adjusting me, and that my body's completely changed as a result of being adjusted. So you don't necessarily have to have this life-changing experience to get into it, but it's really interesting to see that common factor.
I completely agree. And like those miracle events, you know, for us chiropractors, that, you know, the volume of people that we see, and I'll be transparent with people listening to this podcast, I see sometimes between 100 to 150 patients a week. So, and these miracle cases that chiropractic can help with, they're really common. They probably happen, you know, on average, maybe once a week, where you have a miracle case and it was one adjustment healed them, if you like, or completely changed their lifestyle and their pain. So there are these miracle stories, and we see them all the time. So sometimes you have to take a step back, and it's like, well, I've actually changed that person's life from one appointment. And you start taking it for granted at some point as a chiropractor who's doing it day in, day out.
And that butterfly effect as well.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's not just the person that's on the table, it's those people around them that get influenced as well. And that's when the real miracles happen.
Yeah, and I think it gets to a point as a chiropractor whereby you're doing it as a point of service, if you like, because you have such a desire to help people, as opposed to it just being a job. It becomes your life. So, and that's the way I see it, really. So, you know, my goal and passion in life is to help as many people as I can regain their full health. That's why I do this.
Like every chiropractor.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I had my first adjustment when I was 20. Yeah, I would have been 22. It would be my first year at university. And I felt amazing after it. I used to get headaches and shoulder pain. I used to be stressed out. I never understood why that was. And someone adjusted my neck and did some muscle work on me, some stretches, and it just felt great after that. So I was really converted after that. So that really solidified my choice of course.
And now you're getting adjusted once a week for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Now I get adjusted once a week, at least once a week.
Yeah. Amazing. So, and that kind of moves me on to the next question, because obviously you're getting chiropractic care, which is obviously one of the things that pretty much every chiropractor will take part in. Pretty much every chiropractor I know gets adjusted. Some people get adjusted more frequently than others, but more or less every chiropractor I know will get adjusted. But some of the other things is obviously chiropractors will do a lot of things to take care of their health, not only their own health, but actually a lot of the time they'll make these recommendations to their patients or their friends or their colleagues. And it'd be really interesting to know some of the things that you personally do for yourself in order to make sure that your body stays functioning at a higher level.
Sure. That's a really great question, by the way. So, and I've been asked that a lot by many patients. So it depends how long you've got. You know, I talk about this stuff for days if you want, but I know we're on a limited time here. So I'll break it down to two things. First topic I'd love to talk about is sleep.
Yeah.
The second topic I want to talk about is this whole idea of a lifestyle change of intermittent fasting.
Yeah. So both really interesting topics.
Yeah, I'll talk about sleep first of all. So personally, I insist on having 8 hours sleep. No more and no less. So in terms of sleeping, you know, it's just as important as eating well, and also, you know, keeping physically active, getting adjusted. These are the foundations of my own health. So when we sleep, it's our body's natural time to heal itself and replenish our energy stores. Now, if you have poor sleep, we know there's direct links to many long-term health problems. Good sleep, however, has many health benefits. So if you have better sleep, so if you're getting a minimum of 8 hours, on average, people tend to get around 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I've had patients that have seen me that only get 3 hours of sleep a night. I don't know how they do it, but they do. But on average,
by the way, just to pause you there, right? If they get 3 hours of sleep and they're in the clinic, put 2 and 2 together, there's a reason why they're there.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. It leads to so many health problems. You know, one being more stress. You're going to have really bad hormone imbalances in your body. If your hormone imbalances are completely wrong, you're going to have high levels of adrenaline, high levels of cortisol, low serotonin, low dopamine levels. So we know that there's actual chemical changes that can alter your health. And, that's another topic we can talk about, the physical, chemical, and emotional aspects of health. I do whole webinars about that, hour-long webinars talking about that concept. But going back to talking about sleep, in terms of positive benefits, you've got things like your productivity levels, the ability to concentrate. At secondary school, or the start of secondary school, primary school, I could not concentrate to save my life. I had terrible ADHD. I could not sit down for 5 minutes and read a book. And that all changed when I started looking after my health. So when I was exercising regularly, when I was getting decent sleep, when I was eating well, my concentration levels improved dramatically. So weight gain, it's a really good point. Weight gain makes a big difference. If you get minimal sleep, you tend to want to nosh more on food.
Yeah.
So
and by the way, you're going to go for foods that are high in energy as well. So those fats and sugars, you're right. You want sugars because it's going to be that quick fix of energy to the brain. And if your brain is feeling like run down because you're not sleeping enough, you're going to look for quick fixes.
Yeah.
Massive weight gain.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Blood pressure is another one.
Yeah.
Risks of heart disease, depression, mental health is so important. Look at one of the biggest side effects of one of the biggest symptoms associated with depression is lack of sleep.
Yeah.
And both of them feed into each other. If you're depressed, you're going to be up at night thinking about your depression.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not getting any sleep, you're going to get depressed because you have no energy. So both of them feed into each other.
Super true.
Inflammation levels in the body, we know that chiropractic helps reduce inflammation, as does sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to look at getting your body into an anti-inflammatory rather than a pro-inflammatory state, and that will help build your immune system. Mm-hmm. So, just the take-home message from this is that it just really upsets me knowing that people are having less than recommended daily sleep levels, and it's so easy to change. And some of the things, and if it's okay with you, Patrick, I can give some recommendations of how I improve my sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
I think it's paused. Can you hear me?
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about a few things that I do to improve my sleep. So first thing, really important, is sleep in a really darkened room.
Yeah.
Now, things you can do, get some blackout curtains, get some blackout blinds installed. You can order them on websites for, 50, 60 pounds. You can just fit them yourself with a few screws. It's so easy. And that will dramatically make a big change. So the way your body regulates sleep, and, when we were, our ancient ancestors, the way they regulated their sleep is they went to bed at sunset.
Yeah.
And they woke up at sunrise. And that's how our bodies understand when we should be asleep and when we should be awake. So if you have a very darkened room, your body will get into a tired state and you'll sleep. As soon as the sun rises and the light starts getting into the room, you'll wake up.
Yeah.
So if we look at that in other aspects of our life, like you're doing now, you may be looking at a screen, or you may be using a screen to listen to this podcast. Just looking at that screen alone, you get something called lights, UV light coming through the screen. So you can actually change that setting on your computer or your iPad or your phone. You can actually install a blue light filter. And that will actually stop your brain from realizing that you should be awake. So it actually helps you regulate your sleep better because you won't be stimulated with these UV lights all the time. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
yeah, 100%.
You can also buy these UV glasses you can wear, which help filter out
the certain colors of light. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options for it. Personally, I have one of these clocks. It's a light clock that when I
Gradually
go
wakes
to
you up in
bed,
the morning.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when I go to bed at night, so always read a book, by the way, before you go to bed, do something that's going to help switch your mind off. So don't watch TV, don't look at your
I was gonna
phone. Don't
say
listen to
not
music.
shining lights into your face all the time.
Yeah. If you have a book, that's the best thing you can do to help make yourself tired. But I
Mm-hmm.
have a special light that I set it, and then I set it for an hour. So I'll read my book over that hour, and the light slowly gets darker and darker,
Mm-hmm.
and that stimulates the sunset. And by
Amazing.
the way, guys, I have no affiliation to this product. I just really believe in it.
Yeah,
So,
no, there
um,
and there is obviously a physiological response, because obviously when we're falling asleep and waking up, the changes of melatonin levels and cortisone levels within our brain are going to change to reduce and increase alertness, depending on whether you're going into a state of sleep or coming out of a state of sleep. So these,
yeah, exactly.
this, it doesn't necessarily have to have tons and tons of research behind it, because we can look at the biology, observe the biology, and just look at the way that hormones work. And what we know is that people that tend to look at their mobile phones for the couple of hours before they go to bed with all the lights and stuff on, or sit in a lightened room or watch TV, these are the people that are going to have more interference with their sleep. Other things like Wi-Fi in your room, or even having something like a TV in your room, anything electronic in your room that's potentially got lights, bells, whistles, or creating some level of frequency, can actually start to disturb that sleep as well. And so when you start talking about sleep hygiene, it's interesting because I talked to Dr. Filippo about this one on a previous podcast, and a book that was recommended to us by Dan Murphy about why we sleep. And all of these things that you're recommending to us today are all in that book.
Yeah.
Which is
So
great.
obviously refer to that book, guys, or speak to a professional like myself or Patrick.
100%.
We can help you out. This is what we train in. This is what we do day in, day out. So if you do want more information on sleep, send us a message or book an appointment. But yeah, sleep, I could talk about it all day, from having the right pillow, from having the right mattress.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many aspects that influence sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Exercising regularly, chiropractic care, all of these things have a direct relationship on how well you sleep.
It's interesting you say about the increased sleep with chiropractic care. It's the biggest side effect in children is increased sleep.
By the way, guys, if I did my dissertation on this, and about how sleep can be improved with chiropractic and massage care. So if anyone's interested, then you can either contact myself or Patrick, and we can get that article over to you.
100%.
If you can read, or if you want to read 10,000 words, but there is a nice conclusion in there for you. So
just go to the end.
yeah, skip to the end. Now, you wanted to ask me about what other things, or what I'd recommend for others to implement into their health.
You mentioned intermittent fasting about 5 minutes ago. Maybe you can just touch a little bit on that.
Yep. So intermittent fasting is a concept that I've only discovered over the last couple of years.
Okay.
But it's this idea that you use your body's energy sources, or you manipulate your body's energy sources by eating at only certain time periods during the day.
Yep.
So since I've discovered intermittent fasting, it's literally been a lifesaver for me. It completely changed my outlook on concentration, on energy levels. So it was really, really an integral change for me. So how it works, you limit your eating times for 8 hours per day. So for me, what I do is I only eat between the hours of 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. Now, some of you will be listening to this and think that guy must be mad. How can he only eat for 8 hours of the day? So for me, yes, at the start, it was really tough. I would say the first week was a really, really tough week. My energy levels were horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I quickly changed. My body's chemistry, its physiology completely changed. So in terms of what you can do is just find the times that fit with your meal plan. So maybe you have a family, maybe you eat earlier on in the day, you have your dinner earlier on. So you could maybe finish your eating cycle at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. But just make sure you have an 8-hour window where you're eating. Now, there are a few caveats. You can actually have hot drinks, you can have tea, coffee, as long as there's no sugar.
Or
So
milk.
what I do is I wake up. So this is my routine. I wake up, I drink a ton of water because, you know, you spent 8 hours, or it should be 8 hours, sleeping. So your body's a bit dehydrated. So I first of all get straight on the water. Then what I will do is have a coffee. So try and drink organic coffee if your budget will extend to that. But having good quality coffee beans is really important. And again, I could do another webinar about coffee alone. But
it's amazing. It's amazing sitting on this podcast with you. I'm realizing just how similar we are.
Yeah, we're learning. Coming from the same school, same background.
Well, I intermittently fast as well, so I haven't actually eaten today yet.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's a long fast period.
I have a shorter eating window than what I think you recommend. So mine's normally around 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, you can play around with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you can do 6 hours, and I'm sure there's health benefits of doing that. Personally, I work really well with the 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because I have a large household as well, so I have to fit my eating diary around theirs as well. So 8 hours works for me. So I wake up, have my coffee. I try and have a bulletproof coffee if I can. I don't always stick to that. I don't know how much it makes a difference. But you can mix a coffee with grass-fed butter like Kerrygold or Indian ghee, and this can actually make a very powerful, potent coffee mixture that you can take, and that will resupply your brain with the energy that you need to get through the day. And to be honest, at this point now, I've been doing it for almost 2 years. I don't feel the need to eat in the morning at all, and my energy levels are much, much higher. I'm much more productive.
Yeah. I'm all about black coffee first thing in the morning. All about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Love it.
So yeah, just make sure you don't have sugar with it. So having that sugar just defeats the whole object. Because the idea is that you starve your body of its carbohydrate stores. So your body will use its natural carbohydrate stores for the source of energy. Yeah. Once you've started burning those off, it will start burning off the fat stores. Yeah. So since doing this, I dramatically decreased my weight. So I used to have really annoying, stubborn belly fat that never would go. And for men, and you know, reaching out to a lot of men that's listening to this podcast, that is the area that most men struggle with losing fat, is their bellies.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say most people in general, it's the torso that they really want to lose the weight on.
Exactly.
And that's also the place to have it as well.
For ladies, it's most common is like it's legs, bums, and tums, isn't it? So,
but it's that abdominal fat, that visceral fat, that abdominal fat. That's the worst place to have it as well. It's not so bad if it's on your extremities. It doesn't affect your organs the same.
Yeah, we know things like type 2 diabetes directly related to, you know, having the abdominal fat. So directly related. I think about my own father, my grandfather, both had excess abdominal fat, both developed type 2 diabetes. Yes, there is a genetic link to that, but we know there's a big environmental link to it. And having that 100%. Abdominal fat is only going to reduce your insulin resistance, and that's what happens in diabetes. Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. There's some really good talks about it online. I can recommend a TEDx talk. If you want the link to that talk, then either message myself or Patrick, and we can send you that.
Yeah, we'll attach it in the description below.
Yeah, awesome. So I mean, yeah, the best thing about it is that you don't really need to be on a diet. This isn't a diet. This is a lifestyle choice.
Exactly.
The worst thing I find about diets, and I've tried loads of diets, my wife's tried loads of diets. The thing in a diet, and you know, the definition of a diet is something that you do in terms of your nutrition that is for a limited time period, because it's a diet. It's a limited time period. Whereas what intermittent fasting is a lifestyle choice. It's like chiropractic. You can do 1 or 2 chiropractic sessions, which may be really beneficial, but we know that long-term chiropractic care has many health benefits.
And much more health benefits, by the way.
Yep.
So
yeah. I mean, yeah, if I could talk about 2 topics, sleep and intermittent fasting, they're the biggest things that I implement for my health.
And it's interesting as well. Like, I love intermittent fasting because there have been so many links to reversal of the lengths of telomeres, which is your DNA, and actually the effect it has on aging of cells. It's been linked a lot to reductions in oxidative stress, like you say, weight loss, improved sleep. In fact, there's a lot of athletes that will do it for improved performance. There's a lot of research going on around these areas. And again, you can either reach out to me or Andy, and we can definitely send you in the right direction.
I mean, my personal experience with it has been brilliant. Everyone that I've recommended to have absolutely loved it. It's just a life-changing thing to do.
Yeah, I've never struggled with weight or muscle gain either with intermittent fasting, because that's another thing that people worry about, is that will it affect their athletic performance or their gym performance or other areas of their life. And personally, I know loads of people, personal trainers, that would kill me for going into the gym having not eaten, but I've never had a problem.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's going to optimize those aspects. Actually, they say if you read into more detail about the intermittent fasting, I'm sure you're aware of this, Patrick, but for the listeners out there, if you actually exercise during the morning before you have your first meal of the day, you can actually burn more fat that way. Because your carbohydrate stores will be so depleted, you're going to go straight to the fat stores as a source of energy.
And a lot of the time during your sleep, you're using up your carbohydrates for your repair for your body anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Oh man, some absolute gems, hey? I hope people have learned something today. So
I'm happy to share.
I'm sure you are. So I'm going to just move us on a little bit. I'm going to jump down to the next question, because I think you've pretty much already covered the other questions I was going to ask you. But it's really interesting. Like, chiropractors have such different journeys, and obviously within our profession there are very different people. And obviously what we can tell from you is that chiropractic isn't just about treating injuries, it's about improving people's lives. The fact that we're talking about sleep and we're talking about the lifestyle changes we can make, we're not going to call it a diet because it's a lifestyle choice, but the fact that we're talking about lifestyle shows you how Andrew actually works. But there's almost always that question that if you could go back, and I call this the Terminator question, if you could go back to when you were studying as a student and you could come back to your future self now and say, look, Andy, I want to tell you this is me from the future. What would you tell yourself? How would you maybe change what you've done as far as moving through your chiropractic journey?
That's a great question, by the way. And
it's my favorite question.
And out of the questions you've asked me so far, I would say that has been the most challenging one, because that you take someone to a state of reflection, and something that most people struggle with is actually reflecting on themselves and trying to find negative aspects of their life. We're very good at being positive about ourselves, but finding something negative and focusing on some kind of regrets, if you like, or something that you would have done differently is very hard to do. But in answer to your question, if I go back, what advice would I give myself? I think that would surely come down to just living in the moment. And I don't want to say that lightly. I think it's a very, very important concept to understand. For me personally, during my studies, whether that was in secondary school, whether that was during sixth form, whether that was university, I always strive to, do my best, work as hard as I could, always try and be, the top of the class or whatever. But I always went above and beyond in that way. One, because I was really interested in the topic I was studying, but I always almost feel like because I focused too much on that, I also forgot to have fun at the same time. And you can sometimes get so focused on the future and what has happened in the past that you forget to be in the present and live in the moment. And that's, for me, that's what true happiness is just enjoying the moment, because, that's all we have. And especially, at the time of this recording, we're recording at a time of during the coronavirus, and everyone's in lockdown at the moment. And I think for a lot of people, it's been an opportunity, and myself, to take a step back, spend some time with your loved ones and your friends, and just realize what are your foundations of your life? What is important to you? What's not important to you? And I think being in the moment is something, if I could turn back time, that is what I would tell myself. So don't worry about the future, that will look after itself. And, a really, important saying that, has really changed my outlook on life is that you have to destroy the idea that you need to be constantly working or grinding in order to be successful. Instead, you need to embrace the concept that rest, recovery, and reflection are essential parts of the progress towards a successful and happy life.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these affirmations that I try and live every day by.
Amazing.
There are times where it can be so tough and you can't see a light at the end of your tunnel. You may be studying at the moment. You may be in a dead-end job. You may be in pain right now. But actually, there is a light. And if you can just focus on the moment and not have to strive for success all the time and worry about the past or worry about the future and just actually think, I'm actually so grateful and practice gratitude, then you'll realize that, life is a great thing and it's a gift that can be taken away at any moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joe Dispenza talks about this really, really well. And that changing your mindset first to make the thing happen. And, if you're a constant believer in the present now, that something bad's going to happen in the future, guess what? It doesn't matter whether something good or bad in the future is going to happen. You're going to find the bad. If you've set your mindset up to find the bad, it doesn't matter. That's all you're going to see. All you're going to see.
Yeah, that's it. Mindset is so important.
I think that's a really that's a really nice way to finish up on the podcast. What I'm gonna give Andrew an opportunity to do now is actually, Andrew's got a few ways that you can reach out to him. Obviously, he is working in Essex. I'm gonna get it right this time.
Yeah.
But there are a few ways that you can reach out to Andrew, and I'm sure he'd be really happy to receive questions. He is currently running an online specialist business, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to just tell people a little bit more about what's going on with that.
Sure, perfect. Well, it's been great. Thanks for picking my brain on all these different concepts, and I love talking about this stuff, and I'm happy to do another podcast at some point if you guys will have me again. But essentially what I do, so I'm a chiropractor based in Essex. I work in a clinic. I see hundreds of patients a week, ranging from conditions like back pain, neck pain, sciatica, headaches, problems with sleep, nutrition. Now, the clinic is based in a small town called Wickford. So we see people all over Essex. I have some people that visit me from places like Middlesbrough. No place is too far. But that's what I do day to day. Over the last few months, I've actually developed a online clinic called Pain Specialist Online. So what we do is we give consultations on an online platform. It's called telehealth. So these are online video call appointments. So with myself or a member of my team, and we would do a consultation online. We'll then invite you for a results session. We'll explain the results. If it's something we can help with, then we will do a tailored treatment plan for you. So we can give you live exercises online. We'll give you chiropractic advice. And we will help you become your better self. So it's all about optimizing your health and bringing you to a state of well-being or wellness. So at the moment, we are accepting online bookings. So if you want more information, I'm sure we can attach a link to the website. So
yeah, if you just tell us what,
Yeah, so painspecialistonline.com, quite easy to remember. And our Facebook page is Pain Specialist Online. So you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. If you've got any questions, you can email me as well. My direct email is Andykurt, so ANDYKURT .chiro, CHIRO @gmail.com.
Perfect, man.
Okay.
We'll put the email. If you send me the email over, we'll put the email and your website. We'll put it in the descriptions, both on all of our platforms. So you can find this video on YouTube, you can find this video on Spotify, and it should be on iTunes as well. So we'll put it in the descriptions for all of those different areas. And yeah, so what I just want to do, just to finish up, because this is coming to the end of the podcast. Are there any parting words of wisdom or any quotes or mantras that you like to live by that you can give to our listeners just to finish the podcast with?
Sure. So something that I live by is the idea of being able to choose your own destiny. So a lot of people have this illusion that they have to follow maybe in their parents' footsteps or what their friends are doing, but actually you can decide your own fate. And I really like the saying, and it goes like this. So the same wind blows on us all, but it is the setting of the sail that determines our destination. So that's what I'd like to leave with you guys today. So you have the power, you have the ability, and if you have the ambition, you can achieve your dreams. So it's just about having that motivation and surrounding yourself with the right network. So a very, very good friend of mine once said, your network is your net worth. So surround yourself with people that are going to influence you in a positive way.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
What a nice way to finish. Andy, thank you so much for jumping on the call with us today. I will love to have you back at some point. And I just want to say thank you to all of the listeners for listening in. And we will see you for another episode with Coffee with the Chiropractor very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Cheers, guys. Take care.